All right, have you ever gone to hire somebody at the front desk? You brought them on, they sounded really awesome in the interview. They had a warm personality, they really fit your culture, your vibe. They sound great, right? They don't want too much money, they can work with you part-time, they can grow with the practice. And you bring this person on and they sit down for the first day and you think, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? You're struggling to use the computer, you're struggling with being able to confidently display things on the phone, and you're just not getting it, and I'm a little worried this isn't going to work out. And so now you're faced with one of two choices: either to try to make this thing work, or on the flip side, you are forced to let this person go that you just brought on, which nobody likes to have those hard conversations. Now, in this video, I want to walk you through my entire interview process so that you can avoid this exact sinking feeling that I'm talking about. And I want to highlight the common mistakes that practice owners make, and I want you to prevent it with your next front desk hire. And in fact, this is the exact hiring process that I use to sort through 850 applicants every single month for our virtual assistant offer, where we weed through all these people. I don't have time to interview 850 folks, but I do have a process to weed those people out and find only the top tier talent. Usually, we're only finding one or two out of 850 that actually can work with a practice. So, tune in and I will walk you through the exact way that we do these things. Now, most people, they don't have a hiring process whatsoever. We don't know what questions to ask. We don't have a systematized way of interviewing people. We kind of follow this just like process where we're just kind of talking with somebody. We bring them in, maybe we have a couple questions we ask them. We may look over their resume a little bit, but that's it. There's no clear and concise way. It's like you've met somebody for coffee and they sound really awesome, so you bring them on. And that's why most of the time you actually end up super surprised. And when we don't have a process, we don't have a clear way to test things, this is what it leads to, right? It leads to turnover. Now, most people in an interview, they are putting their best self forward. It is an act, right? It's almost like when you first started dating somebody, or, anytime you've ever been in an interview, right? You want to appear likable. And when humans want to appear likable, what they do is they will bend over backwards to make sure that they're answering your questions the way you think you want to hear them. And ultimately, I need to be able to get over that. And I need to make sure that the person that I'm actually talking to is who it is that I need to talk with, right? It is their true self. I'm not going to be surprised several weeks later. Also, on the flip side, I don't need to just like interview three or four people. I need to have a very wide net of people that I'm trying to interview. And most practices make the mistake when they go to interview somebody is they don't have a really wide net. They have three or four folks, and like that's kind of it. That's a problem, right? And so the big thing that I want to see improved is I need to cast a wide, wide net. And so I want to show you guys our exact hiring process, exactly how we think about the hiring process. And this is what we've used month over month to sort through a ton of candidates. So at a high level, what we do is we need to get as many applications as possible. And then ultimately, I need to finish with one or two people and I need to let them know what the clear expectations of the position are. So let's start with this application portion, right? I need to get as many applicants as humanly possible. I think most people are scared to get this many applicants because like, hey, I don't have that much time to interview these folks. And that's the same thing for me. I run two companies. I've got a practice. I've got this virtual admin front desk consulting business. I don't have time to interview 850 candidates. But what I do need to do is I need to cast a wide, wide net. And so one of the best ways to do this is very simple. List on multiple job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, anything local to your region, whatever is a solid job board, that's an easy low-hanging fruit. You're going to get a lot of applications that way. Now, on those job boards, I'm going to list multiple different job descriptions as well, which is, front desk receptionist, sales desk representative, whatever the specific position you're after, you need to list multiple of those. And then I want to get as wide as possible in our network and in our niche. So I'm talking email list, Instagram or social media post, Facebook groups can be really helpful. I'm going to start talking to every single patient. I'm going to send out emails to my patients. I'm going to try to get as much word out as humanly possible. And really, with hiring, you need to treat it like marketing, right? With marketing, you don't just like, build your building and hope people will come. You actually have to get out there in order to get as many people reaching out, right? And that's the big thing we're going to be after here. And so once we get all those applicants, I need to find a way to ultimately cut through the noise and find out who is actually serious and who's not, right? With Indeed or job boards, or somebody thinks something sounds interesting, and so ultimately what they do is they just they simply throw an ad out and it sounds interesting, right? But really they don't even know what the job is about, and so I need to or I need to make sure that this person is actually high intent, right? That they actually do want a job and they didn't just toss some stuff out there. And so with that, I have a screening process. And what our screening process looks like is I have a landing page that talks exactly about what the position is, what my expectations are, what my needs are, ultimately all of the details, who we are, what we're looking for. And from there, what I ultimately then do is I have a multi-step process inside that landing page. One of which is, hey, I need you guys to send me a video so I can hear their voice. I need them to send me I need them to email me that video, and I need them to ultimately include a specific subject line. This is me testing their ability to follow directions. And then I also have a survey inside of that landing page that ultimately kind of helps me get to know who they are, where they are in this stage of life, and ultimately what they're looking for. For example, if I'm offering a part-time position at 30 hours per week and this person needs full-time work and they've got young kids, I don't want to waste my time actually interviewing this person, right? Because ultimately our expectations aren't going to line up and they are not going to accept a position with me. And so this is my screening process. So now I'm only getting top tier people. Now, from there, I then shift gears into what I call a top grading interview, right? What is a top grading interview? This is where I get to know this person and their history of work a little bit more in depth. Now, for me, because I have so many people reaching out to us, what I actually do is I do a group interview with 5 to 7 people because I have such a wide net and I need to get through as many people as possible. This helps me understand how people act in social settings, how vulnerable and willing somebody is to be vulnerable with me on a call. How truthful is somebody? Are their answers congruent? Does somebody seem like an A player? I look for people who are looking for advancement or looking for growth and who have a track record of seeking fresh and big opportunities for them. And so ultimately for some of you guys, a top grading interview might just be a quick phone screen, right? It could be a quick 15, 20 minute or Zoom, right? Where you're just jumping on and you're asking them about their expectations, what they're looking for in more detail. But more importantly, you are going chronologically through their work history. What are they proud of accomplishing? What were things that they felt like were they weren't very good at during their job history? What is something they were really good at? What would their bosses say about them, or how would they rate their performance? And look for honesty and ultimately, is there congruency in what it is that they're saying? Or are they giving me the vague answers of like, oh, I'm a good people person, right? It's like, what does that actually mean? Do they have a track record of proving that? And really, I'm looking for people who go above and beyond. I'm not looking for the status quo. Hey, I just clocked in, clocked out. But if I understand someone's job responsibilities, did they meet those or exceed those? And ultimately, are these people seeking long-term growth, right? These are the people that ultimately do the best. Now, from there, I've cut this down even more rigorously, and I want to do a working interview, right? These are people who I deem like these people could ultimately be very good if they can pass some skills test with me. And so this is the major mistake most of you guys make when you're hiring is like you do an interview, they sound bubbly and warm, but you have no idea if this person has the skills you're looking for. Can they multitask? Can they input data in a computer? Can they close people on the phone, right? Like, are they confident? Do they portray and project confidence on the phone. These are the big things that I ultimately want to see happen, right? And so most of you guys skip this step altogether. So definitely listen up to this because I know so many practices aren't doing this as I audit their interview processes. And so a working day interview is where I'm going to spend some time with somebody and I'm going to test a lot of things. One of which for us is a phone call, right? If I have people taking phone calls, I need to hear how they sound on the phone. I give them a mock script, a mock phone call that I took way back when, and I give it to them and I see how much they've studied. If somebody isn't willing to study for an interview, there's 0% chance they're going to ultimately be a good hire for you long term. Now, from there, what I want to do is I also need to check their ability to just friggin' use a computer. There are so many hiring nightmares where somebody's hired somebody and they spend the first 2 weeks trying to teach them how to use an EMR. And newsflash, if they can't use an EMR after day one, they're probably not going to get it, right? So please don't waste your time with that candidate. And more importantly, test it in the interview process so you're not wasting your time. Now, from there, I may check other things like, how does this person handle a tough situation? Or if somebody pushes back about insurance objections, or somebody wants to cancel an appointment, or maybe I give them an SOP for how to reschedule a patient and how well do they actually handle that? Can they assimilate that information pretty quickly? Now, from that working day interview, I usually find one or two candidates that I'm like, yeah, I want to hire these people. And from there, what I do is, and this is a really cool final step. I learned this from a book, which was called Who. I forget the exact author of it, but it's basically a scorecard interview where I basically print out what my expectations of the job are. Hey, you're going to be working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You are going to be responsible for handling new patient leads that are coming in, and I expect you to close 60% of those people, right? I expect you to keep the schedule at 75% full, whatever the case may be. Whatever the KPIs of the position are, whatever your expectations are, it needs to be clearly outlined on the scorecard interview. It's one of the biggest reasons why people get into jobs and they say, well, this isn't what I was expecting. And if you want to prevent that, you have to let them know what your expectations are on the front end. And so I actually go line by line and I ask them, well, what questions do you have? What thoughts do you have about that? Do you feel like you're going to be able to meet that expectation? And this gets all of the cards on the table. I let them know the good, the bad, the ugly of the position so that they know what they're getting themselves into. And ultimately, if I can do that really, really well, it's going to prevent us from having these awkward conversations, right? Or me having to let somebody go. And I know so many of you guys really hate to have the hard conversations, but if you can ultimately be more diligent on the front end, if you can hire very slow, and fire fast, I promise you, you're going to have much better success. And this is where this interview process can really go hand in hand with what you're looking to do long term. Now, this is our exact hiring process. If you want to skip the hiring like nightmare altogether, if you're like, I've tried hiring people and I just can't seem to figure it out, we actually have a team of virtual assistants. They're already, most of the way trained. They got to get specifics to your clinic, but I've got them trained. I've got them, they know exactly how to follow through all the processes of phone conversation, keeping people on the schedule, and getting them excited to want to work with you beyond one session and actually book a high ticket package with you. Now, we've got them already trained, ready to go. If that sounds interesting at all to you, why don't you? There's a link below here. You can book a call with me. I'll break down your practice. We'll walk through our virtual assistant process and see if it's something that works for you. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the inside of some of our other trainings.